You know what makes this time of the year so great is the beginning of the football season, of course. But the beginning of the football season does not happen without the enshrinement in Canton, Ohio, of some of the most legendary players that some of us have actually grown up watching, and some of us actually didn't get the chance to grow up and watch, but we learned about as our love of football actually grew. It's the WC World Championship news. I'm basically here to talk to you folks about the enshrinement of the Hall of Fame class of 2014, talk about their speeches a little bit, give a little bit of a background on them, somewhat of a review of the Hall of Fame 2014, and just think about it like this, folks. From now, August, the beginning, beginning of August to basically the beginning of February, we will go just about every single Sunday. We'll have football every single Sunday until February. So love it, gotta love that. The class of 2014, let me just go ahead and start off. This is not in any necessary particular order, but I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the guys that were enshrined and talk about their speeches, and just give a little bit of a background on how I feel about them being in the Hall of Fame, and just go through just a little bit of a review of the Hall of Fame overall. Let me start with Aeneas Williams. He was a 3rd round pick. He played with the St. Louis Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. He'll be more so remembered for his time with the Cardinals. He was first team All Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was first team All NFC in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2001. I mean, this guy right here, I love this guy, but I also don't like him because back when he played with the Arizona Cardinals and the Arizona Cardinals were part of the NFC East, he gave my Redskins nightmares. I mean, matter of fact, he shares one of the NFL records for fumble return for 104 yards for a touchdown against my Redskins back in the day, and I was just, I mean, really, it's just one of those things where this guy, we talk about Sean Taylor. I could compare him to Sean Taylor real quick, and I'm not saying that Sean Taylor is a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but I mean, he looked like he was going to go towards that direction. But Aeneas Williams wasn't a straight up big bruising safety. You know what I'm saying? Like a Ronnie Lott or anything, but he was a smart safety. You didn't want to throw the ball, towards this side of the field. He just had a great sense of football, and that's what makes him a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? I like this speech, and Aeneas Williams is definitely one of those players that I think he's kind of underrated, but when you see as many accolades as this guy has, you can't say that he's underrated at all. Next up, Derrick Brooks. I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody that listens to this video knows about Derrick Brooks. You know what I'm saying? He's from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he played his entire 14 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 95 to 98. Just one of those players where he was just, when you talk about, I just got done talking about Aeneas Williams being a smart safety. Derrick Brooks, I think that he kind of, he's one of those type of players along with Ray Lewis that kind of revolutionary, changed the game, from a linebacker's perspective, where it was, a linebacker is just a run stopper. Derrick Brooks was a smart linebacker. He could defend just as well as anybody. He had a bunch of interceptions during his career. He was just one of those guys that, he was deceivingly quick. You know what I'm saying? He was a 1st round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was all team Rookie of the Year. You know what I'm saying? He was part of that. He led the Bucks defense. I mean, it's just one of those things, along with Sapp, who's another Hall of Famer. I mean, it's just, Derrick Brooks was just one of those guys that just revolutionized the position. And when you talked about, middle linebackers and linebackers during the 2000s, you could not talk without mentioning Derrick Brooks' name and Ray Lewis's name, and alongside they were pretty darn good. And when you went up against that Bucks defense, he was a vital part of that defense, along with Sapp in the middle. And then you had Lynch in the back. Just those 3 guys, John Lynch, Derrick Brooks, and then Warren Sapp down low. Those guys just, then you had Rondé on the other side. It was just, That Bucks defense back in the day was just crazy. And Derrick Brooks was a large part of it. He's well deserved as a Hall of Famer. I liked the speech too. I liked everybody's speech, honestly. Next up, Clyde Humphries. Very old school. Not very old school, but before my time. He was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. I think that he's going in as a Falcon, even though he played with the Eagles. He was drafted the third overall player in the 1968 draft. Like I said, I think that Clyde Humphries and Bruce Smith kind of marry each other. Just looking at some of the film on Clyde Humphries, he's got that power move, that swat. I mean, he wasn't necessarily a finesse guy, and back in the day, guys weren't necessarily finesse guys. Even Bruce Smith really wasn't a finesse guy. He just had a great sense of, jumping the snap or timing the snap, and you just knew as soon as Bruce was coming down that corner. And that just and he just reminded me so much of Bruce Smith when I looked at Clyde Humphries. And he was one of those guys. He got traded to the Eagles. He made all pro teams back in 71, 72, 73, 74, and 77. He was a very good all-around player, a high motor. He was one of those guys that led the league in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. So, Clyde Humphries is one of those guys, like, I just look at him and I say, high motor, very powerful, well deserving. I'm kind of upset that it took him this long to get in there when I looked at some of the film on him. I was like, wow, this guy, really underrated as a pass rusher, as a DN. Like this speech too. I'm going to say that a lot during this video. I like the speech too. Out of all the guys that are being enshrined in the 2014 draft class, I think that it shouldn't have took Ray Guy this long to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, this guy, has one of the hugest legs in NFL history. He's out of Southern Mississippi. Basically spent all 14 of his seasons with the Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders when they were Los Angeles. This guy right here, man. I mean, it's just when he came into the league, he was definitely an impact. He helped out the Raiders, and them guys having the dynasty that they had there. And field position, some people that don't understand this, field position in football is definitely one of the biggest, things that you can have. Finding a good kicker, finding a good punter is one of the hardest things. And they hit the jackpot with Ray Guy. I mean, he led the NFL in punting in 1974, 75, and 77. He was just, he had over 1,000 punts. He averaged I think about 43, 42 yards per punt, which is, great. I think that he holds the NFL record without having a punt block, so he was good. He was nimble. Championship. I mean, really, this guy's resume is long, and he played for a very long time. I like the game of Ray Guy. You know what I'm saying? Playing the game, calculating. You know what I'm saying? Air pressure. I mean, I think that there's a real big science to being a punter. I think that it's just more than just kicking a ball in the air, and I think that he just had the science of of punting down to a T. Well deserved. I think that it's just a couple years too late. Honestly, he probably should have been in there 10 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. Next up is Walter Jones. He was drafted by Seattle, and he played all 12 seasons in Seattle. I mean, don't you know what? When you talk about Walter Jones, he played a very vital part in Sean Alexander's winning of the MVP trophy. You know what I'm saying? In 2005. And when you talk about building a franchise, you start with maybe your quarterback, and then you talk about tackle. You go quarterback, maybe tackle. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was basically a bookend for 12 seasons, over 180 games. You know what I'm saying? He was that vital part, you know what I'm saying, of that Seattle defense. I mean, not defense, but offense. You know what I'm saying? That you really look at, man. When you talk about building a franchise, you talk about getting an offensive tackle, and that's basically what Walter Jones was, man. He was an All-Pro, 2002, 2004, 2007, or 2004 to 2007. You know what I'm saying? He helped Sean Alexander have this over 250-yard game a couple years ago, if y'all remember that. He was a vital part of their Super Bowl run in 2005. I mean, it was just one of those things where when you talk about building a franchise, you have to start with a tackle. And if you're gonna, build a franchise and start with a tackle, you should try to look for somebody that's just like Walter Jones. Hall of Fame career, no doubt. What I'm saying? I like this speech too. Very heartfelt. Next up is Andre Reed. He played with the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Redskins, but of course we don't remember him playing with the Redskins. We remember him playing with the Bills. I mean, during that early '90s stint when the Buffalo Bills were just in every single Super Bowl, it felt like, man. It was just one of those things where it's kind of sad to see them not come away with a ring. With a ring. Andre Reed is definitely one of the best wide receivers in NFL history. I think that we were talking about, a while ago. We was talking about him and Jerry Rice being in the same conversation. I don't think that anybody would, disagree with that. But it's just one of those things when you thought about, Jim Kelly, you thought about Andre Reed. You didn't think about anybody else. You might have thought about Thurman Thomas, but you thought about Andre Reed. He was known for his yards after the catch, very good possession receiver. He wasn't a blazer, but he was a guy that if you threw it in his area, he was usually going to come down with it. Very lengthy, very athletic. That Bills offense during the early '90s, like I said, with Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, man, there was just a time and point where these guys were just unstoppable, man. 89, no, not 89, 87. I gave him 2 more touchdowns, 89 touchdown passes. From Jim Kelly. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just look at Andre Reed's career, and it's definitely Hall of Fame worthy. Speech went kind of long, but I liked it. He gave out a bunch of shout outs, and it's one of those things where kind of long overdue, but hey, Andre Reed is in, and it's well deserved. And finally, Michael Strahan, defensive end from out of Texas Southern. Played all 15 seasons with the New York Giants. As a Redskins fan, I have to admit, Michael Strahan gave me nightmares. I mean, it was one of those things where you just knew that Strahan was going to make a play. And I hate to compare, Strahan to Bruce Smith again. You know what I'm saying? Or compare another player to Bruce Smith. But, he just had that motor. He was a dominant, and I mean dominant at defending the run. You know what I'm saying? Dominant around getting around that corner. Big, strong, fast. He was the prototype. If you're building a defensive end, you start with a guy like Strahan. You start with a guy like Bruce Smith. You know what I'm saying? His game mirrored Bruce Smith, but he had a little bit. I think that Michael Strahan had a little bit more finesse than Bruce Smith, but they kind of mirrored each other. Looking at his accolades, man. First team All-Pro 5 times. In '97, his rookie year. In '98, the next year. 2001, 2003, and 2005. He holds the NFL single season sack record with 22 sacks. He did that in 2001. He also holds the sack title that he got 2003 with 18.5. You know what I'm saying? Rookie of the year. No, defensive rookie of the year. Not rookie of the year, but player of the year. I keep saying rookie. Player of the year in 2001. I mean, this guy's accolades, man. 2 championship rings. I mean, really. I think it's a no-brainer that Strahan gets in. And, first time being on a ballot for sure. Right in. Straight in. So, yeah, this is the, just a review. I like this speech, too. I liked everybody's speech. It's not necessarily about the guys' speech. It was just basically, looking back at these guys' career and saying, thumbs up. So, WC, if you took the time out your life to listen to all 15, or whatever, how long this video go, alright? If you took the time out to listen to this video, go ahead, drop a like, drop a comment, thumbs it up, share it with your friends. Let me know who you feel as though should be in the Hall of Fame next year. And that's just about it. I just wanted to give a little bit of background on these guys, these players, and their careers and how I felt about their careers. So WC, I did a lot of talking for a very, very long time. And until next time, folks, peace out. Hall of Fame worthy.